First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News First at 4 starts now with a breaking news alert.
And we begin with breaking news in University Heights. Dozens of emergency crews responding to a shopping plaza off Warrensville Center Road. Our Brian Duffy is live on the scene, standing by. Brian, have you learned any new information as to what's going on?
Nikki, what we've been able to do is we were, of course, here at the Dollar Bank, which is on Warrensville. This shopping plaza fronts Cedar, and you can see the incredible police presence behind me. We have not gotten any confirmation out here that there were actual gunshots, but there are dozens of police vehicles here, and there were dozens more that were in the area and then drove away at a high rate of speed. I want to tell you first what I witnessed while we were at Operation Backpack. Two young men, really young, teenagers, walked by us, kind of yelled out at us a couple of times, "Hey, that's the news crew, that's the news crew, that's the news crew." We lost sight of them for about 2 minutes. Then about a minute after that, all of a sudden you heard pop, 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 pop. And I said, was that fireworks or were those gunshots? And then 30 seconds later, those same two young boys came running by where we were doing live interviews for Operation Backpack. They ran away from us. Moments later, that's when all of these emergency vehicles showed up here, and they're screaming all over the area. Just moments ago, we saw an ambulance leave, and so now what we want to do is I'm going to bring in Nigel, and Nigel lives here in University Heights. Nigel, you live in the homes right here behind. Tell me what you heard and tell me what you saw.
So I was at the house, chilling, watching TV, and then all of a sudden I just hear, 6, 7 popping sounds. So sounded like right from the backyard. So upon hearing that, I quickly put on my shoes, look out the back window. Then I come outside and just seeing what's going on. So I hear people talking and saying it was, two young boys, something to do with backpacks. I didn't get the full scoop, but
yeah, did you? Yeah, sure. Obviously, this is we're dealing with breaking news here, and police are here putting the. Come on over here for Nigel. We'll continue talking. You're convinced. You told me you were convinced that those were gunshots.
Yes, absolutely. It just had the cadence, and it just didn't sound like fireworks. Fireworks are more, it just sounds different to those with the ear, but after hearing those popping sounds, I did hear a little bit of screaming and stuff.
Okay. Did you see or anybody else moving through the area? We see that police have a couple families. They're trying to help people out here.
Right.
There's people parked in front of these. Anything else you saw that stood out to you?
Besides the car that was shot, and
so you did see a car that was shot?
Yeah, the car is up there right now. It has shattered windows and stuff.
Okay, so where is that? Generally, you see the fire truck at the end. Is it near the fire truck?
No, it's actually right where those groups of cops, police, right there is.
Right here in the middle?
Yes, is a car right there. Yes.
Okay, so you saw shattered windows in a car?
Yes, I saw shattered windows. I didn't see anybody inside. It's I'm not sure who was inside or anything, but.
Okay, Nigel, thank you. We appreciate you taking some time out. Yeah.
Yes, no
Have a good rest of the day.
Thanks.
Sorry that disturbed your day,
I'm sorry,
Nigel. Appreciate
everyone's day.
Yeah, it certainly did. So again, just to kind of recap what's going on, and I'm looking around at this scene right now, and it's really hard to watch. Not because we see any blood or we see any victims, but I see young kids. I see young kids walking with their parents and their grandparents or their brothers and their sisters, and they're dealing with all this. And, they really shouldn't have to, because clearly something happened here. And once again, we do not have it confirmed from University Heights police at this point that these were gunshots. Clearly, this was not somebody throwing a package of fireworks in the parking lot. So obviously this was more than just that. And we're going to continue to work to figure out what's going on. Police here now trying to help get people out of the parking lot. As a matter of fact, we did see one ambulance leave from the area. We do not know if anybody was injured in all of this, so we'll just have to continue to wait and see. Did you folks hear anything? Did you hear those gunshots at all?
No, I just pulled up, man.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you're all safe. So that's where we are at this point right now. We're going to stay here, obviously, try and figure out what we can. The news desk back at the station is going to continue to work on this, try and figure out through the police what exactly happened. As soon as we get more updates, we'll have them for you out here in University Heights. Reporting live in University Heights, I'm Brian Duffy, 19 Action News.
All right, Brian, thank you. Stay safe out there, please. Also breaking now at 4, all lanes of 71 South in Cleveland, they're back open right now after a massive Greyhound bus fire caused miles and miles of backed up traffic. It was quite the scene out there. Keith Grant has been live all afternoon while crews really inspected that Fulton Avenue bridge.
Nikki, we just got a hold of ODOT. I did just a little bit ago. They gave the all clear, traffic open back again, and then we've got the Fulton Road Bridge here as well that was reopened. That had been closed off because the bus that had started on fire, the Greyhound bus, parked right underneath this bridge on I-71 South. I want to take a look at the video from ODOT cameras that we received. Shocking video of the bus parked under the bridge, and you can see dark, thick black flames coming up from almost the other side there. And then the people in the median were passengers. The 25 of them, including the driver, had to grab their things, make a mad dash out, and rush to what they felt like was a safe space at that time, the median, until fire crews showed up. They obviously put the fire out, but the damage that was left behind, the entire back of the bus burnt out, the windows blown out, the seats down to the frames, and then even the back rear dually wheels were burnt off. So towing that bus away took a little bit of maneuvering for the tow truck driver. Usually they'd hook at the front and pull away. This time they obviously only had one option. That was the back, because the only way it could roll was the front wheels. Once again, we did reach out to ODOT as far as the I-71 lanes being open. They wanted those open in time for the 5 o'clock rush hour. They got that done. And then the Fulton Bridge Road here opened as well. They wanted to make sure that it was structurally sound because the bridge was vulnerable to any damage by the fire. They say this smoke left, soot left on the bridge, it's only cosmetic, no structural issues, so everything's safe for you to drive on and walk on across this road. Once again, 71 open after that bus fire earlier this afternoon, just around noon. Nikki?
All right, Keith Grant, thank you for that important information. Great update there. Now to new details on a truly horrifying story. A 4-year-old rushed to the hospital throwing up blood. His family says he had chlorine poisoning from a local splash pad. They're now suing the city, but we just heard back from the health department, and their response is simply shocking. 19 News reporter Catherine Huntley joining us live now with that part of the story.
Now, it all happened here in the city of Eastlake. The family of that 4-year-old is saying through a lawsuit that their son was exposed to high levels of chlorine here at the Surfside Park splash pad in Eastlake in early June and had to be rushed to the pediatric ICU. It's a terrifying situation for any parent. The family wants answers, and they want someone to be held accountable. Eastlake Surfside Park splash pad busy today in the nice weather. Earlier this summer, it was a different scene. A new lawsuit claims a health inspection on June 2nd found chlorine levels at more than 21 parts per million. The CDC says anything above 10 parts per million should be considered an imminent health hazard, and yet the park stayed open.
You've got toddlers, you've got kids who are going to do what kids are going to do. They're going to drink the water, they're going to be exposed to it. And that's exactly why we have these rules, is to protect the children that are attending these places.
And yet the park opened. Attorney for the family, Jedediah Bressman, wants answers. 2 days after that inspection on June 4th, the family's 4-year-old boy played at the splash pad. Within days, he began throwing up blood, the situation so critical he needed a blood transfusion. His doctors attributed the internal bleeding to chlorine exposure, all according to the lawsuit. So why wasn't the park closed after that health inspection? I reached out to the health department, who told me they recommended the park be closed until levels came down, but couldn't order it. That's because state law only lists a minimum chlorine level needed. There's no maximum level. The 4-year-old wasn't the only child affected. We spoke with an Eastlake mom whose children were there in early June and also had side effects.
We came here in early June, and when we got here, it was like you walked into a hotel. It was just an overwhelming smell of chlorine.
Monica Weiss is an Eastlake resident and a nurse. Her kids spent hours at the splash pad and complained of burning eyes and red skin. She assumed it was sunscreen and sunburn until she saw a Facebook post about the hazardous water.
I mean, I was worried after hearing that, but, we kept an eye on our kids, and our kids were fine. And then that was really it.
She's grateful her kids didn't have to go through what the 4-year-old boy did. Some parents we spoke to said they've avoided the splash pad all summer, but many trust the water levels are okay now.
And a couple friends up here, and we know it's been monitored because I've seen trucks and stuff here, and it's been packed here every day.
To be fair, I also reached out to the city to get their side of the story. Eastlake Law Director Joseph Randy Clammer released a statement saying, quote, "The city's most important response is that everyone here wishes the child well. The complaint has been submitted to further review." Now, the Lake County Health District did tell me the city of Eastlake is testing their water twice a day. Some families still remain concerned and are not letting their families in this water. We're reaching out to the city of Eastlake to try to get the chlorine levels for each day this summer to find out what they are when people are using the splash pad. As soon as we get those answers, we'll let you know. For now in Eastlake, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.
Catherine, thank you. Now to Elyria. An Elyria police officer cleared of wrongdoing after the controversial arrest of a teenage girl. This is video from that day back in June. The officer was accused of using excessive force while arresting the teen at Ely Square. Again, this was back in June. The police chief says an internal investigation found the officer's actions to be reasonable in this situation. However, the chief says there's always a chance to improve judgment through training, and that is being done. The officer has since returned to duty.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, as we go through the next couple of days, we are watching for that increasing opportunity for some rain and rumbles. Now, this is not to say that everybody's going to see rain even as we go through the rest of the day today, but we're opening up the door to those possibilities. So keep that in mind as we kind of wrap up the rest of the work week. It is going to be very humid out there, so all that humidity is going to help to fuel some of those heavier downpours, very similar to what we're seeing happen basically across our eastern counties. Yesterday, we talked about that rain potential, that it would largely be areas basically along and east of I-71, and that's exactly what we've seen happen through the course of this afternoon. You see a couple of these heavy downpours across parts of Ashtabula County, south of the Pierpont area, down towards Orwell. No lightning with this as of right now, but it is going to be a healthy drink of water for the ground, certainly. Where we have a little bit more of that thunderstorm activity, this is actually down towards Carroll County, now east of Carrollton, but it is going to be working its way off towards the north and to the east. Nothing severe with this, but heavy downpours, lightning, that's going to be enough to send you inside for a little bit of time. And we've got a little bit more development just off to the west. Isolated cells there, but again, we'll see if they can kind of gather a little bit more steam. What's happening is right now we're building in a lot of this humidity. That's what's helping to fuel this better opportunity for showers and storms across parts of Ohio today. You look farther off to the west, out towards Chicago, that's actually activity that's out ahead of our next cold front. The problem is, as that front starts to approach our area, it is going to stall out a little bit. So that's where that daily then chance for rain and rumbles starts to come back into the picture. Right now, temperatures are sitting kind of right around that mid-80-degree range. Factor in the humidity, which is definitely a little bit more noticeable today than it was yesterday. And it feels like we're sitting about 2 to 3 degrees above what that actual air temperature is. So keep that in mind. Maybe sweating a little bit more if you're spending some time outside. Again, the chance for rain and rumbles still exists as we head into the early evening. I'll give you the latest on the timing coming up in your future view.
The back and forth continues in the battle with Iran and getting the Strait of Hormuz open. The recent positive news has oil prices sinking, but is it enough to get us cheaper gas? 19 data journalist Dan DeRose spoke with the experts at Gas Buddy. Dan.
There's a lot at play, and it is very fragile, to say the least. Now, oil prices are not the only thing that impact what you pay at the pump for a gallon of gas, but it is a large indicator. I've got here what I've been monitoring, and I monitor this just about every day. This is the WTI crude oil trading. This is just today. So you can see we started $74. And it's been an up and down day. It's currently at $74. Now, I want to show you this entire past year. You can tell right here, this is the start of the war with Iran, and that was back in March, and what oil prices have done, and that's correlating a lot to what has happened and what you've paid at the pump. Now, I want to talk about just the last month. Let's go back to just before the 4th of July when crude oil, the war was still growing, crude oil was at $68.55, and then we got to the point here where it was above $90 a barrel. We've had some quote-unquote good news, whether you buy it or not, that, we're trending in the right direction. So I asked Patrick DeHaan, the petroleum analyst at Gas Buddy, when will this translate, even especially just this last bit of positive movement on oil, when will it translate to better prices?
Oil prices have plummeted to start the week. A lot of that's contingent, though. The president has talked about a new deal with Iran to reopen the strait. If that doesn't happen, oil could go right back up. But for now, I would say if you're in Ohio, do not be in a rush to fill up. As I mentioned, gas prices in Ohio are still above $4 at $4.05. They're up significantly from last week. But with oil plunging so far this week, don't be in a rush to fill, because I would think in a week, gas prices that average $4.05 could be back down into the 350s. So prices should start to decrease here at an accelerated pace.
And one of the common questions people always say is, the prices skyrocket up, but it takes forever to come down. Patrick DeHaan says that's simply not true. It's just that you notice when prices shoot up. You don't notice when they start to get cheaper. Dan DeRose, 19 News.
All right, Dan, thank you. We want to get back to our breaking news. We continue to follow in University Heights. This is in a shopping plaza off Cedar Road. You can see a vehicle here in the parking lot with some shattered windows. We have witnesses on the scene who described hearing 6 to 7 pop, pop, pop sounded, they say, like gunfire. We have not confirmed that yet with police. There are dozens of police officers. There was a fire truck on the scene here that looks like it's since moved out. You can see the heavy police presence here, still a very active scene. We're working to get information as to what happened here, but you see that vehicle, that car in the parking lot with its windows completely shattered. Brian Duffy is live at the scene. He's working to get us updates as well. We'll continue to follow developments and bring them to you right here on air and streaming online. Well, fresh off the big announcement, the Cleveland Sirens are hosting their first pop-up youth basketball camps today, and they're partnering with the nonprofit Play Like a Girl. The first one was this morning at Warrensville Heights Family YMCA. And look at all these young kids, right? These young athletes, basketball players inspired by the WNBA, bringing the game right here to Cleveland. On Saturday, everyone's invited to a special fan fest at Edgewater Beach. It's from noon until 5. This is free. Fans are going to be able to buy or win some team gear. The event includes food trucks, music, and an opportunity to get tickets for the first season. All right, check this out. Police in Summit County were in for quite the hoot this week. Sagamore Hills officers called to a home in Northfield near Macedonia. Neighbors found an injured great horned owl in their backyard, and officers helped gently get that bird into a crate where it was taken to the Birds of Prey Rehab Center. Staff there says the owl has a head injury, but once it's healed, it will be soaring over Sagamore Hills once again. All right, our Brian Duffy has been covering breaking news in University Heights in a shopping plaza off of Cedar Road. I want to check back in with him. Brian, we saw a vehicle in the parking lot there with some shattered windows. Have you been able to get any kind of update from police as to what's going on out there?
No, but that's clearly the center of attention here right now, Nicole. I was able to talk to one of the police officers here from University Heights on scene. All they could say was that the incident is still under investigation. We are waiting for confirmation that these were gunshots. Clearly, it certainly looks like they were. They were certainly not fireworks. What else they could be, not quite sure. I'll take you back to what we witnessed, because we were here when this happened. We were at the Dollar Bank that's not even 100 yards away from here when in doing an interview for Operation Backpack, when we heard pop, 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 and everybody's head kind of looked up, and I said to the group, I said, were those gunshots or were those fireworks? And nearly everybody agreed that it was way too loud for it to be fireworks from where we were. It really sounded like gunshots. Unfortunately, I've heard them before covering stories. So that's where we're at now, still waiting for confirmation right now from police what exactly happened. But the camera view you're getting right now is of a car that's back window is shattered. The door of the car is open. You can see police have started putting down those evidence markers right now. So clearly something happened. You can see the police presence out here right now. What I also want to tell you is we don't know if there were any injuries at all. We're still waiting to get that confirmed, but we did see an ambulance leave here, full lights and siren in a big time hurry. Again, don't know if anybody was hit, if anybody was shot. Al, I want to direct your attention to this where I told you I saw those scooters. So what I saw here, see this big wooden where they've got dumpsters back there? I took a walk. I've been walking around the perimeter of the scene here to see what I could find out. And in the back behind there, unfortunately you can't see them, are two scooters. They're laying on the ground. Clearly looks like somebody left them in a big time hurry. You could see police officers walking back there. A drone was on the ground. They've put that drone into the air now. I can see it above me. It's also shooting the what is certainly a crime scene at this point. So two electric scooters back there, multiple police cars. There had to be 30 police cars involved at one time or another. They got here so fast. The response time was incredible. We were pointing out to the officers where we saw two young men. They were really, really young. They walked by us while we were at the Dollar Bank, and then seconds after that, we heard those gunshots. Seconds after that, they ran by us again in the other direction. Not making any connection at all. I'm just reporting what I saw, what happened in the parking lot. Have no idea if that's who police are looking for. Could have just been a couple of kids who were frightened by what happened and were running away. Again, there are two electric scooters back here, a massive police presence. I talked to a man named Nigel. You can see this officer here getting more of the evidence markers out of the back of that car. He's going to go, he had a whole handful of them. But we heard, what, Al? We heard at least eight shots, at least 8. My cameraman, Al, is telling me right now, and they were loud. Again, I said shots. We're waiting to get that confirmed from University Police. We've seen Cleveland Heights Police here. We've seen Shaker Heights Police here. We've seen University Heights Police here. So every South Euclid police cars here. So it's 4 communities at least. So clearly, this is something that has them very, very concerned. We, of course, will stay on top of this. I did talk to a witness. His name was Nigel. He lives in this neighborhood here right behind me in University Heights. He told me he was at home, heard it plain as day. He thought they were gunshots as well. We are working to get that confirmed. That's what we know right now. Again, Nicole, I want to mention that I did talk to a police officer here from University Heights. He said this is so early in this. We are just trying to get this investigation underway. Reporting live in University Heights, Brian Duffy, 19 News.
Time for our top 4 stories at 4. A Wycliffe man sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his ex-wife. Stephen Kurtzinger admitted to shooting and killing 37-year-old Alexandria Kurtzinger outside a Chardon home last summer. The couple had 5 children, ranging in age from 9 to 16. A man with bullets in his pockets and weapons in his vehicle arrested at the Trump National Golf Course in Los Angeles just days before the president was supposed to visit. Police say Janine Taylor appeared to be checking out the security of the area, taking pictures and paying attention to where the guards were posted. Celebrity blogger Perez Hilton is in the hospital after reports that he went on TikTok live, cutting and harming himself. The terrifying video was circulating across all social media platforms late last night. Police went to his home in Miami to check it out. They got him to the hospital. His family is thanking fans for the support and asking for privacy while he recovers. Sean Diddy Combs has a new projected release date from federal prison, February of 2028. It is the latest in a series of unexplained date changes from the Bureau of Prisons. Combs is serving a 50-month sentence for federal prostitution-related charges. His attorneys are appealing, and he is in a drug treatment program, which could shorten his time behind bars.